Hello. So I am back with another recipe video for you. This is going to be a very simple but very delicious peach cobbler recipe. So you only need 4 ingredients: your peaches. For this I used a large can of peaches. I think the can is like 6.6 pounds, but I did not use all of them, but I did use majority. And I also used sugar, nutmeg, and vanilla extract as my main ingredients for this. So stay tuned and I'll give you the rest of the recipe. So while your peaches are still cooking, take a little bit of the juice out of your pots and add it to a little cup or a jar. And what I want you to do is, if you have some flour, take a spoon of flour and add that to the juice, and also take a spoon of cornstarch and add that to the juice. Mix it up till it's a nice consistency, and then add that into your warm peach mixture. And then if it's not the consistency that you want, add a little more flour to it. And that should allow your syrup that's in your peaches to kind of thicken, so that your peach cobbler is not really runny, but more so has a thick consistency. Now I want you to lower your heat to about low medium and add the rest of your ingredients. I added about 3/4 cup of sugar. I added 1 tablespoon of nutmeg, but to me that was too much. So if I were you, I would start off with a 1/2 tablespoon of nutmeg. And I also used a full tablespoon of vanilla extract. Here's where you have a little wiggle room with your dry ingredients. If I were you, I would add half of my dry ingredients and mix them together so you can see how it tastes, because some people like their desserts to be super sweet and some people are more on the mild side. So this gives you the option of tailoring your peach cobbler or any dessert to how you like it. And now we're gonna add our first layer of peaches. And make sure that you evenly coat the bottom of your pan, and make sure that you don't have too many peaches on this layer, because you may not have enough for your top layer, and I'll show you a little bit about that later. But I'm adding my crust to it. Here I could have also added some butter on top of my crust as well as to my peach layer, but I was going too fast so I didn't. And voila, I put this in the oven on 350 and I allowed it to brown for 15 to 20 minutes. And this is going to be my first layer. So here's a trick to a juicy, tasty peach cobbler. It is a 2-layer crust. Yes, people, you heard me right, a 2-layer crust. So as I'm adding my peaches, I noticed that I added too many peaches to my first layer, because my second layer of peaches is looking a little thin. But don't fret, it's still gonna come out as a nice peach cobbler. But just remember, when you are adding your first layer, to make sure that you don't add too much, because you want enough peaches on your second layer as well. So you're gonna add some butter into this as well. Again, I said you could have added butter to your first layer, but I forgot, moving too fast, so I'm remembering to add my butter to this layer. Now I'm gonna add my last layer of crust, and make sure that you completely cover your peaches with your crust, because you don't want to have any areas that are just oozing out. So I am a crust person, so I made sure that I had tons and tons of crust on this last layer. And funny story or funny fact about me is, I actually do not even eat baked fruit. Like, I don't eat peach cobbler, I don't eat apple pie, I don't eat any of that. However, I do like the crust on those type of items, because it's something about the nice gooey bread as it's kind of dipped in the sauce and the syrup of your baked fruit. I don't eat the fruit, but I will tear up some crust. So that's why I have a lot of crust on this, because when I take a piece of this, I'm only going to be eating the crust. So back to the recipe. I am adding some butter to my top layer, or my last layer of crust, so that way when it comes out, it's going to be nice and glistening. And I'm also going to take some sugar, some cinnamon and nutmeg, and sprinkle it atop of my crust. What I do is I add 3 parts sugar, and then sprinkle a little cinnamon and a little nutmeg, mix them together, then I sprinkle it across my crust. This is going to give it a nice flavor when you bite into it. It's going to give you some contrast to what your first layer of crust just tastes like. and it's really, really, really a good option to use. It's something that's optional, so you don't have to do it, but again, it's gonna give your crust a nice flavor. And we're almost done. You're gonna put this back in the oven on 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. And here is your final product. So if you guys try this recipe out, please let me know in the comment section below, or if you have a peach cobbler recipe you want to share, let me know. And remember to like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.